I am the head varsity baseball coach here at Robichaud High School. My name is Elvis Johnson. Our school has celebrated successes in many other sports and has a valued tradition in other sports as having winning programs. And when the springtime comes around, they want to see a new winner. They want to see something. They expect that. And I expect that of myself, and they expect that of me. We kind of put the pressure on each other to do that, especially since I've been here. In recent history, we've had budget cuts and we've had low budgets, and due to the fact that times are bad and economic situations, things have been cut. And of course, the sports program here is not subject to exemption, in that retrospect. So some of the sports that were not as popular as the other ones had to be cut in order to satisfy most of the people, and baseball had to be that sacrifice. In the past few years, actually the team has not won a game in about 3 years. I do believe the last win that the varsity program had on the field was a district quarterfinal against Detroit Southwestern about 3 years ago, and it's been a rough road since then. I did leave the school for a year to coach at another school, and I came back to take the helm about a year and a half ago. Baseball, of course, we know that is a sport of failure, and learning how to accept and learning how to adjust and adapt to failure and how to react after the fact is what's more important, especially for situations in lower income neighborhoods where in life you basically pretty much on the losing end of the stick. In baseball, it's the same way that you do in life, okay? When you strike out at baseball, you always have that other opportunity. You have that next opportunity. And when you do strike out, the choice that you make is whether or not you want to be upset at the fact that you struck out, or you can take it and use it as a point or a valued education to where you can learn to where you cannot strike out the next time. And hopefully I can teach the kids how to be able to take that step after that fact, because I do believe that's a lot more important than just going out and just getting the wins. We want to make sure that we can get the kids into a routine, a basic routine. Kids need to know exactly what they're going to do and when they're going to do it, how hard they're going to do it, and they also need to know why they're doing it. So once they can understand that concept and that principle, they can buy into the fact that we do have a system, we do have a program that's in place. There are things that needs to be done in order to become a successful program. Right now we're into maybe the next phase of getting that together, because now we're going into a season where we've had off-season conditioning. We have players that come in and they expect to work out when it's cold outside, and just like anything else. I mean, if you play basketball in the summer, you're going to come back in the fall, you're going to be a good basketball team. If you go out and play 7-on-7 in football, you expect to be good in the fall. And I got kids they're starting to buy into the fact that they do need the more reps, and they're learning how to do that, and they're making the adjustments, and they're getting tough mentally as well. We've been developing a character and integrity amongst the kids. The school board and myself, we made it mandatory that the kids do study table for about an hour to an hour and a half every day. We know that about 3 hours is required, but we put it into our program. We've got used to the fact that we can get the kids into the library and get their grades together. Right now we're carrying about 15 on varsity, we're carrying about 22 on junior varsity, and we have a club middle school team that's going to carry about 15. I would like to have the opportunity to work more conventionally as a coach / manager of the baseball program if we didn't have those financial challenges. Now, of course, you only have so much time out of the day to do everything that you need to do, and of course there's never enough to do everything that you might want to do, but it would be less of a burden if we had finances in place to make it a little bit easier to operate. We're kind of short on gym space. Of course, it is basketball season, and we have a freshman team, we have a junior varsity team, we have a varsity team on both boys and girls, which limits any kind of space anywhere. We don't have any auxiliary, so we work out, where we can. We're in the weight room for the most part, but from time to time the kids like to get into the cafeteria and they like to work out, and we run the stairs, we'll run the hallways. We have corridors where kids actually run maybe somewhere between a quarter to a half a mile inside the building. And actually on the high school grounds, the kids do not have a varsity baseball field to play on. We do have the fencing that's out there. We have something that's set out there once the building was built. However, it's not playable. It has not been playable ever since it has been built. And we've been playing at the elementary school down the street. And even that field has eroded because we also share that field with a lot of other different programs that go in and go out, and because of the lack of maintenance, and it falls like a domino. For the most part, if someone wins a grant and they get a field built, the biggest mistake that's made after the fact is the fact that you have to maintain the field. And once you do have the field, you do get the interest. You do get the kids, they do come in. But over a period of time, if you don't maintain that field, it will erode, and it doesn't take long for it to do so. It's not an expensive sport to obtain, but it may be a little bit expensive as far as time-wise to retain it, to keep it going. Once that goes down, the interest is gone, and then of course you have losing programs, and that's the domino effect I'm talking about. I have come from programs that have been successful, and this would be, I'm going to say, my fourth high school where I've coached baseball. And this would be the third school that I've coached as the head varsity coach. And I believe my biggest challenge, my biggest adjustment would be the fact that this sport may be the least popular sport out of all the sports in the building, and creating interest in that particular sport for the kids to come out and actually want to play will probably be the most difficult thing and the biggest challenge that I've had. We could use volunteers to come help us maintain the field. We can have volunteers to come out, maybe do a 50-50 raffle. We can have volunteers to come out and help us with our feeder program. We may need younger kids, coaches to come up and kind of inclinate the kids into the sport of baseball at an earlier age so that they can be more seasoned when they come to the varsity program. Field maintenance, I'm going to say, if you got tools to cut the grass. I mean, you don't have to be a baseball expert or a baseball pro. You can come and be a scorekeeper. You can come and do just about anything. I mean, if you got enough time, we can sit here for another 2 or 3 hours and say all the things you can do: run a scoreboard, clean up before, clean up afterwards, wash our uniforms, organize a booster club, get the booster club together. I mean, every particular athletic program, they do have booster clubs, and our school have booster clubs per team, and we don't have one just yet. If there's anyone interested in playing some baseball, come and see me.